Hello and welcome to English class. Today we are going to learn the ninth chapter from the book Footprints Without Feet. The name of the chapter is Bholi and it is written by K.A. Abbas. Now telling about the author, so Khwaja Ahmad Abbas was a famous Indian film director, novelist, screenwriter and a journalist in Urdu, Hindi and English languages. He was the maker of films like S.W. Hindustani and Do Boond Pani, which won the National Film Award for the Best Feature Film on National Integration. Coming to the theme of the chapter. So, the major theme of the story, Bholi, is the impact of family on children. Bholi is a little girl who fails to develop self confidence because of her parents' attitude towards her. The story hints at why family support and emotional security are essential for proper child development. Also, disabled children must be given encouragement, love, and education like their normal counterparts. Coming to the characters of the story, Bholi. So, we have our first, or you can say the main character of the story as Bholi. Her name was Sulekha. So, here are some points about the character of Bholi. So, she was thought to be a simpleton. She was very simple. She had pock marks over her body. She went to school and finally her teacher encouraged her for her studies, and she refused to marry a greedy and mean person. This is not many, this is marry. Okay, she refused to marry a greedy and mean person, and she decided to serve her old parents and teach in the same school. Now our second character is Ram Lal, who is the father of Bholi. So Ram Lal had 7 children and he was worried about Bholi, neither good looking nor intelligent. So he and his wife thought that Bholi is neither good looking nor intelligent, so they were so much of worried about Bholi. They overlooked Bishamber's age and limping and thought of marrying their daughter to Bishamber. Then finally they suffered from a false sense of honor. Next, our next character is the teacher of the school where Bholi was studying. So she was kind and sympathetic. She encouraged Bholi to speak. She increased Bholi's interest in books and she agreed to accept Bholi as a teacher in the same school. Now let us see the summary of the story Bholi. So Ram Lal was the Nambardar of the village. Nambardar means the person having the highest position in the village. Head, you can say. So he was the Nambardar of the village. He had 4 daughters and 3 sons. All his children were very healthy, but his youngest daughter Sulekha was a backward child. When she was 10 months old, she fell down from the cot and a pan of her brain was damaged. When she was 2 years old, she had an attack of smallpox, due to which her face was permanently disfigured by deep black pock marks. She started speaking at the age of 5 years, but she stammered. So everyone called her Bholi. This is the reason people called her Bholi. Actually, her name was Sulekha, but people called her Bholi because she was stammering. She was considered as a witless fool even by her parents, her sisters and her brothers. No one cared for her. Ram Lal's eldest daughter Radha had already been married. The second daughter Mangla's marriage had also been settled. Ram Lal was worried only about Bholi. A primary school for girls was opened in the village. The Tehsildar Sahib came to perform its opening ceremony and he asked Ram Lal to set an example before the village by sending his daughters to school. Both Ram Lal and his wife were not in favor of girl education, but Ram Lal had not the courage to disobey the Tehsildar. So finally they decided to send Bholi to school. Why? What was the reason to send only Bholi to school? Why not other daughters? Because they thought that all other daughters are beautiful. They will somehow get married to some or the other person. But Bholi is neither intelligent nor good looking, and she had pock marks all over her entire body also. So it would be difficult for her parents to marry her to a person. So that they thought that let her go to school, so that if she gets educated, someone will marry her. So was the reason they sent only Bholi to school. The next day, Ramlal asked Bholi to go to school with him. Bholi did not know anything about school. She was frightened. She refused to go anywhere. Ramlal asked his wife to give some decent clothes to Bholi. New clothes had never been made for Bholi, but that day she was lucky to receive a clean dress. She was even bathed, and oil was rubbed into her dry and matted hair. She thought that she was being taken to a better place than her house. When they reached the school, Bholi saw many girls of her age sitting in the rooms. The headmistress asked Bholi to sit down in a corner in one of the classrooms. The lady teacher in the class was very good. The teacher asked her about her name, but she could not speak her full name. She began to weep. When the school was off for the day, the teacher asked Bholi to come also the next day, and Bholi nodded. She said yes. Bholi became familiar to the teacher. The teacher drove out her sense of fear. Now she began to speak without stammering a little. Now Bholi was grown up. She had passed many classes. Her father got a marriage proposal for her from Bishambar, who was a rich grocer from the neighboring village. He was about 50 years old. He walked with limps. He had children also from his earlier wife. Ramlal accepted the proposal and asked Bishambar to come with Bharat. Bishambar came with great pomp and show for the wedding. Everybody was joyful. All the friends and relatives of Ramlal and Bishambar were present there. Bholi, dressed in red, was brought there. When Bishambar was about to put the garland around Bholi's neck, a lady pulled back Bholi's veil. Bishambar saw Bholi's face covered with pock marks. He refused to marry her. After many requests, he agreed to put a condition. After putting a condition that he would marry Bholi only when Ramlal would give him 5,000 rupees. Ramlal put the bundle of 5,000 rupees on Bishambar's feet. Bishambar was feeling victorious. He raised the garland to place it around the bride's neck, but Bholi struck the garland away. Bholi said that she would not marry such a mean, greedy and coward person. The Bharat was returned empty-handed without a bride. Ramlal was full of grief and shame. Why? Because the Bharat had left without the bride. So Bholi consoled her father that she would serve them in their old age, and she said that she would teach in the same school where she got the education. Okay, so this was the end of the story. I hope the story was clear to you. Bholi's actual name was Sulekha, and after she got education, she developed so much of confidence in herself, and due to which she could disagree to marry to a greed and mean person, Bishambar. So that's all for today's video. Until the next video, keep learning and keep recalling. Thank you.